Welcome back to San Diego. In this episode, we're going to explore the Embarcadero and Little Italy, which has been a stable ethnic business and residential community since the 1920s. At one point, more than 6,000 Italian families lived here, and they led the way in building the boats that founded the American tuna fishing fleet and canning industry, making San Diego the tuna capital of the American West Coast. Some would even argue in the world. It became a massive industry employing a lot of people, but in the early 70s, the tuna industry in San Diego declined due to rising costs and foreign competition. On top of that, 35% of Little Italy was destroyed due to the construction of the I-5 freeway. As a result, Little Italy declined for several decades until the early 1990s, when established property owners and family-run business owners decided to take their fate into their own hands, turning the neighborhood into a trendy and popular spot for San Diegans and visitors alike, with its many eateries, bars, breweries, events, and more. And with that, let's go ahead and start the tour. Little Italy is located in the northwest end of downtown, just a few blocks from the San Diego Bay and Embarcadero. We start the tour at the Piazza della Famiglia, walk north along India Street checking out some eateries, then turn around at the corner of India Street and West Juniper Street to get to Grape Street. From here we walk to the waterfront and enjoy a stroll along the Embarcadero, hop on a quick harbor cruise, look at the USS Midway before ending the tour at the gateway to Seaport Village. Here we are at the heart of Little Italy, the Piazza della Famiglia, which opened in March 2018 and was built as a European-style piazza. It's dedicated to the past, present, and future families of Little Italy and has become a gathering place for concerts, cultural events, and a farmer's market. In fact, the farmer's market that takes place on Saturdays is San Diego's largest one, filling 6 city blocks. They also host a smaller market on Wednesdays. At the east side of the piazza, you'll find this beautiful tiled fountain, adding to the charm this place has to offer. Grab a bite to eat at the Little Italy Food Hall and then sit down at one of the tables enjoying the beautiful scene, and in the distance you can even get a glimpse of the San Diego Bay. We leave the piazza and turn right on India Street, past the Little Italy street sign, and just a few steps further take us to Filippi's Pizza Grotto. This is definitely a staple here in Little Italy. Founder Vincent de Filippis was born in New York and raised in Naples, Italy. At age 18, he returned to New York City and later married Madeleine Manfredi, who was from France. In 1947, they moved to San Diego, where they opened an Italian market named Cash and Carry Italian Foods. As you can tell, the restaurant has a market honoring the beginnings of Vincent's and Madeleine's ventures in San Diego. The year 1950 was the beginning of what ultimately became a very successful line of family restaurants that are known today as Filippi's Pizza Grottos, owned and operated by original family members of the founders. Alright, we continue along India Street. This is Born and Raised, a high-end steakhouse with glitzy decor and a rooftop patio. And here's the first brewery of our tour, the Bolt Brewery. A great spot for people watching as you sit at this outdoor bar enjoying craft brews and bar food. Now we get to the next staple of Little Italy, Mona Lisa Italian Foods. A similar concept as Filippi's, this establishment has an Italian market and deli, as well as a restaurant. The first Mona Lisa restaurant was established in 1956 in downtown San Diego by Stefano Brunetto. This location, along with the deli, opened in 1973 and in the early years operated as a wholesale import business, supplying Italian provisions to the local tuna fleet and other San Diego restaurants. It is still family owned and now in the third generation, making it an institution for Italian food and culture in Little Italy. Across the street we see Pali Wine Company, a wine tasting bar which has several locations including Santa Barbara, LA and Anaheim. And just a little further down the street we encounter the next brewery, Ballast Point. The cool thing here is that you can watch planes as they approach the San Diego airport. As you can tell, besides the many Italian places, there are also plenty of other options such as breweries, this Princess Pub, and a vegan sushi restaurant which I definitely want to try next time I'm here. Also, there are several events happening throughout the year and I have a link in the description with an overview. One that popped out to me is the Taste of Little Italy happening June 20th and 21st in 2023. You get a taste passport and then make your way to different restaurants grabbing bites and drinks to enjoy. There will also be live music at the Piazza della Famiglia. Alright, moving on. A short walk from Little Italy down Grape Street takes us to the Embarcadero. It's always nice to walk along the waterfront here in San Diego. You'll find the Maritime Museum right here, which preserves one of the largest collections of historic sea vessels in the US, with the 1863 iron bark Star of India being the centerpiece of the museum. There are some nice waterfront restaurants such as the Brigantine Seafood and Oyster Bar. And just past that is the Port of San Diego International Cruise Ship Terminal. As you can see, the Disney Wonder was anchored here while I was visiting. There are also several providers here that offer all kinds of bay cruises. I did the North Harbor tour with Flagship Cruises, which lasts about an hour. It was alright, but I feel like there is not a whole lot to see on that cruise. There's also an option to do a South Harbor tour or the full bay tour. I did the South tour many years ago and liked it more than the North tour as you get close to the Coronado Bridge on that one. I think we even went underneath it. So just something to keep in mind when you visit. Also, just a quick note that only one block up the street is the Santa Fe Depot, the main train station of San Diego. So you are very centrally located if you arrive by Amtrak train and can just walk to many of the hotels in the downtown area. As we continue further along the waterfront, we get to the USS Midway Museum. The USS Midway was the United States' longest-serving aircraft carrier of the 20th century from 1945 to 1992. Today, it is the most popular naval warship museum in the US. I visited a few years ago and really enjoyed my visit. There's a lot to see and learn, and you'll certainly want to spend at least 3, maybe even 4 hours here. Right here at the USS Midway, you'll also find the Embracing Peace statue, which is designed after one of the most famous photos in history, where Alfred Eisenstadt took a picture at New York's Times Square of a US Navy sailor embracing and kissing a stranger, a dental assistant, on Victory Day over Japan on August 14, 1945, which marks the day on which Japan surrendered in World War II, ultimately bringing the war to an end. Now, as I mentioned earlier, there used to be a massive tuna industry in San Diego, and this park where the statue is located is called the Tuna Harbor Park, and the harbor to the south is known as Tuna Harbor. In this area, you'll often find street performers like the Lone Sound Ranger. I've even seen this guy in San Francisco several years ago. He plays multiple instruments at the same time, which is pretty impressive. gateway to Seaport Village, a charming waterfront, shopping, and dining complex, which we will tour in the next episode of my San Diego series. I really hope you enjoyed this tour of Little Italy and the Embarcadero. Next, check out my tour of beautiful Balboa Park. And with that, I say thank you and Dankeschön!